after you watch 300 and you're like, does it need a sequel? And then you're thinking, is everybody gonna be a Spartan? We're here tonight at Brennan Theaters watching 300 Rise of an Empire, which to me that title is very misleading because there wasn't much of a rise of an empire at all. It was why, because everything now has the name of it and the little subtitle, so you're thinking, whatever you're thinking. This movie is exactly like the first. It literally was, let's just pull the sticker off and bring it over to new people and faces and slap it back on, and now we've got a movie. They really took away from the Spartans being like the almighty warriors of the land. You called them in when stuff goes bad and they're like, you don't with them. In this one, like everybody was a Spartan. The farmhands are like, dude, we can fight like a Spartan, no big deal. And they were. I'm like, this is completely BS and unrealistic because I watched the first one. Those Persians had a hard time getting through 300. And this one, it's just like, really, dude? Like, you're on some boats? You can have strategy. I'm not saying you can't have strategy, but to win battle after battle after battle, no. Maybe one battle you'll win and then you just get, ah! The action's there. There is action. You will go on this with like slow motion, which is probably half of the movie. It's okay, I guess, if you're into that. And it's a mindless, entertaining movie. It starts off, sequel, prequel, sequel, prequel, sequel. We don't know at this point what we're doing, but there will be a third one because it pretty much ended the same way the first one ended. I don't feel that's giving anything away, especially if you've seen the first one. It's just different. You're thinking, oh, it sounds like you hated it. I didn't hate it. I just would have liked a sequel that was better than the first one. Instead, it was just, you kind of dumbed it down. You really took away from that first one of the new comic book feel coming to life, and you're just like, really? Even the effects were like, what is this? I get it. You're gonna cut, slap. I mean, it was just like, and like, really? I'm having some issues, and there's some other things when some beheadings go on and they're clean. I'm like, bull. In a nutshell, this movie feels like a summer blockbuster, a little early in the year. It is entertaining. If you're a boy, you're gonna like it. It reminds you of back when the first one came out, like, let's relive the memory days. This movie is a 6.5 out of 10. Yeah, I expected more. You had Zack Snyder's name in it, but you didn't have Zack Snyder's touch. You can't steal and try and do what someone else did. How did you feel the second 300 compared to the first 300?
I think that without Zack Snyder, the second 300 was a poor imitation. His name is only in it because he's the producer and because he co-wrote the script, but he did not have the visual touch on it. He was not directing the shots. He did not have, that style had a lot to do with his direction, and he wasn't there. So they were emulating someone else's style. They were emulating Zack Snyder's style.
It's very similar in the aspect of abs and abs and abs and more abs. You have the same kind of main protagonist in it. It's basically the same story, but on water, on a boat. 300 on a boat, mother. That's what it should have been called.
I think it's more of the same. I think that it's basically blood, guts, and action-packed. It feels like a summer movie to me. It's kind of out of place a little bit.
Early in the year?
Early in the year, but I think you kind of know what you're getting into with a slow motion cut 'em up, you know, kind of, yeah, special effects.
First one was better. It really was. But I did enjoy this one. But the first one was better. Okay, it really was. Like, honest in my heart, it was. Okay. They did it better. Even though I don't like Gerard Butler, he was still a G. This new guy kind of reminded me of Ryan Reynolds, and with a blue cape. So.
Now, did you like the direction that this one started to go in?
The trilogy direction? You know, I see why they did it. I just don't think they should. They pulled a Matrix. They took what didn't really need a sequel, made a sequel, and went a completely different direction with it. And I don't think it was necessary. I can't really go into details without spoiling stuff, so I won't. But
A lot of people died.
Yeah, well, obviously. I just think that what made the first movie so great, they said, we can go that way, but we really can't because we've already told that story and it didn't need a sequel. So we don't really have a way to keep with that solid style and that solid concept, so we're just going to go a completely different direction.
It was nice to see the next stage of 300 because you're sitting there watching it going, this really can't be the end. I do like the continuation aspect of that story. That you want to know what happened to Xerxes and his army, and that gross little hunchback dude.
I truly feel that the direction that they're going is about the dollar. I think that, 300 was a huge success, so this is basically, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It feels like they want to milk it for everything they can, so this kind of has some filler in it, and it has the feeling that there's going to be another movie. So that's what I would expect out of it.
I asked Michael Barnes after, I was like, it was kind of crazy how they intertwined it from like the beginning to, you know, it was interesting. It was interesting.
This is a prequel, middle, sequel.
Yeah, yeah.
How'd you feel about the effects?
You didn't like them? I enjoy like the, you know, the slow motion kind of shit. That stuff was cool. The blood was a little stupid, but I mean, it was enjoyable.
I think that once again, they lost something. I don't know how much Snyder had to do with the effects, but I know that Blood looks horrible. They completely changed the concept of how the blood works in the movie, and that was one of the coolest effects. It was gore for the sake of gore, but at the same time, it was also the brutality of combat. And now it is literally just gore for the sake of gore.
I thought the special effects were great. I think it was a little different as far as some of the blood and slow motion scenes, but overall, I thought it was well done.
The visual effects were awesome. I did enjoy the digital squibs that were going on. That was pretty awesome. Even though they were digital, I loved them. I felt that I loved that there was two badass women in this. Like, they were totally VA. Like, yeah, bitches be fucking shit up. That's how I felt. That's how I felt.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you give this?
I'll give it a 7.
Okay, now this is tough, because if you're just looking for a mindless action movie, it's not bad. You know, 7.5, 7 out of 10, something like that. If you're looking for it to be the continuation of the 300 movie, it's like a 5. It's just not.
You know, I could give it an 8. As long as you don't go in thinking it's a drama, expecting huge storylines and all this other stuff, you kind of get what you expect, I think.
It's a high 7. It's a really high 7. I just don't enjoy boobs like boys do. Yeah, maybe a few boobs in a movie is great and whatnot, but when I'm with a group of boys, I'm like, this is really weird watching this.
Next week we're doing Need for Speed. Should be interesting. Not really. I have 0 expectations. I'm curious to know though, what do you think is like one of the best war movies? Like, you know, 300, Last Samurai, Troy, like those types of things. Even modern Saving Private Ryan. What do you think is a good war movie? I want to know down in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so and like this video, favorite it, share it. And as always, we're letting you know before you go at Brendan Theaters.